My girlfriend laughed in my face, saying, "You'll never be rich. That's why I'm leaving you for a real man." She had no idea I had just sold my startup for $250 million. A month later, she begged me for a job. I, 34 male, spent most of my 20s and early 30s grinding. I wasn't partying, I wasn't traveling the world, I wasn't living in some big city. I was in Indianapolis, Indiana, working behind a computer screen in a one-bedroom apartment that smelled like old carpet and burnt coffee half the time. Most people around me didn't understand why I wouldn't just get a normal job. Even some of my closest friends would tell me to stop wasting my time. But I had this idea. It was all I could think about. A logistics software that could help small businesses manage deliveries like the big companies do, but without needing a $1 million system. I called it QuickDash. It started rough. I had no investors, no real connections. I spent years doing freelance coding jobs just to keep the lights on. Some months, I had to decide between paying rent late or skipping groceries for the week. I'm not proud of it, but I couch-surfed more times than I want to admit. I worked from public libraries when my internet got shut off. That's around when I met Maya. Maya, 32 female, was beautiful in that way you don't forget. She had long black hair, green eyes, and a way of looking at you like you were the only person in the room. I met her at the Ball and Biscuit downtown. I thought it was fate. She laughed at my dumb jokes. She asked real questions about my work. She didn't act bored when I talked about coding or delivery management systems. At first, she seemed supportive. She would bring me lunch while I worked late into the night. She would sit next to me while I tested buggy builds. I thought she was different from everyone else who doubted me. But slowly, her patience started to crack. It started with small comments. "Are you sure this is going anywhere? Maybe you should start looking at real jobs, just in case. Babe, I just don't want to see you wasting your life." I tried to brush it off. Building something takes time. I kept thinking, once I make it, she'll see I was right to keep going. But her tone kept getting sharper. The jokes weren't funny anymore. They stung. When we went out with her friends, she would make little digs. "This is Nick. He's working on a project. It's like Uber, but sadder." Or, "He's trying to be the next tech billionaire. Fingers crossed, right?" She said them with a laugh, but the way she rolled her eyes when she thought I wasn't looking told me everything. The worst part was, deep down, I started believing her. What if I was wasting my life? What if I really was just another guy with a cool idea, who never made it? Still, I pushed on. Then came the dinner. We went to Bluebird, which was too expensive for me at the time, but she insisted. I knew something was off the second we sat down. She was cold. Distant. She barely looked at me, spending more time on her phone than in the conversation. Halfway through the meal, she put her fork down and sighed like I was the biggest burden in her life. "I can't do this anymore," she said. I thought she meant the relationship. I thought she was just breaking up with me, and honestly, part of me was ready for it. But it got worse. She leaned in closer and said, almost whispering but somehow loud enough that it felt like everyone in the restaurant could hear, "You're never going to be rich. You're not that guy. I need more than promises. I need a man who can actually make it happen. Not someone who thinks building apps is a career." She laughed. Right in my face. It wasn't a nervous laugh. It was the kind of laugh you let out when you're completely sure the other person is a joke. Then she stood up, grabbed her purse, and walked out without even waiting for the check. I just sat there. The steak in front of me tasted like nothing. I couldn't move. Couldn't even be mad at first. I was just numb. I paid the bill, walked out into the cold Indiana night, and stood there for a long time, wondering if she was right about me. That was on a Saturday. The next Tuesday, I got the email. The company I had been negotiating with, a giant in the logistics world, I can't say the name because of NDAs, wanted to buy QuickDash. Not invest. Buy. Straight purchase. $250 million. After taxes and paying off the tiny handful of early helpers and legal fees, my personal cut was about $32 million. I sat on the floor of my crappy apartment and just stared at the screen. I couldn't even cry. I just kept laughing to myself, thinking, Maya is never going to believe this. And I didn't tell her. I didn't tell anyone outside my lawyer and my mom. I bought a penthouse apartment downtown overlooking Monument Circle. I bought myself a car that didn't rattle when it hit 60 miles per hour. I paid off my mom's mortgage and set up a trust for my nephew's college fund. Life changed overnight. Maya was out of my mind. I didn't even bother looking her up. Until about a month later. One night, I'm sitting on my new couch, drinking whiskey that costs more than my old rent, and I get a notification on LinkedIn. It's Maya. Her profile picture is the same. Her hair looks a little thinner, a little less shiny. She sends a message. Hey stranger! Hope you're doing well. Heard you're doing big things these days. Would love to catch up sometime. I stared at the message for a while, debating whether to reply. 2 days later, another message. Actually, I was wondering, are you hiring? I just got laid off and I'm looking for something new. Maybe we could grab coffee and talk? The fact she added 3 hearts made me want to throw my phone across the room. She really thought she could walk back into my life like nothing happened. Like she didn't laugh in my face. Like she didn't say I wasn't a real man. I didn't reply. A week after that, I saw her at a networking event at the Scottish Rite Cathedral. She was hanging off the arm of some old finance guy in a cheap suit that didn't quite hide his gut. She saw me across the room. Her whole face changed. Like she couldn't believe it was really me. Like I was a ghost. She broke away from the guy and practically sprinted toward me, a huge fake smile plastered across her face. Nick! Oh my God, you look amazing! She said, reaching out to touch my arm. I just looked at her, smiled a little, and said, Sorry, I don't think we've met. Then I turned around and walked away. I could feel her standing there, stunned, as I melted back into the crowd. I didn't look back. I thought that was the end of it. Thought she would get the message loud and clear and crawl back to whatever life she had pieced together after walking out of mine. I was wrong. A week later, I get an email. Not a casual one. A full-on professional-looking resume attached, cover letter written like she was applying for some high-level corporate position. It was addressed directly to my company, Quick Dash, to the new careers page we had just launched. Except the company was mine. I was the one who hired. I was the one who decided. And there was her name, big and bold at the top, Maya L. In the cover letter, she wrote stuff like, I believe my past relationship with the founder gives me a unique insight into his values and vision. I have always admired Nick's perseverance and entrepreneurial spirit. I would be honored to contribute to Quick Dash's growing success. Reading it made my skin crawl. This woman laughed in my face. Mocked me. Walked out on me like I was garbage on the curb. And now she wanted a job because she believed in me? I deleted the email. The next day, she emailed again. This time, she was less formal. Nick, can we just talk? Please? I made a mistake. I see that now. Everyone deserves a second chance. You're everything I ever wanted. No response from me. Then the text started. She must have gotten my new number somehow. Maybe through a mutual friend. I don't know. At first, it was a couple of, hey, and can we meet up? Texts. When I ignored those, she started getting desperate. I miss you. I can't stop thinking about you. We were so good together. I didn't answer. Then she switched tactics. You owe me. That one stopped me cold. I stared at the screen for a long time. I owed her? I sat there, wondering if I should reply, wondering if she was really losing her mind or if this was some game. I didn't respond. A few days later, I pull into my parking garage, and there she is. Sitting on the hood of my car like it was a normal thing to do. She looked rough. Eyes puffy, makeup smudged, hair messy like she hadn't slept. She jumped up as soon as she saw me. "Nick, please," she said, running toward me. "Please just talk to me." I didn't say anything. I just locked the car and started walking toward the elevator. She followed me, heels clacking on the concrete, her voice rising. I was scared, okay? I didn't think you'd actually make it. Nobody makes it. I kept walking. I thought I needed security. Stability. I was stupid. I made a mistake. I hit the elevator button. She grabbed my arm. "You're not even gonna listen to me? After everything?" I turned to her slowly. "You made your choice," I said. "You laughed in my face. You humiliated me. You left me when I needed you most." Tears started spilling down her face. I know I did. Please. Please give me another chance. You don't know what it's been like without you." The elevator dinged. I stepped in without another word. The doors slid shut on her broken face. I thought it was over after that. Thought she would finally get it. But people like Maya, they don't just walk away quietly. 2 days later, I'm in a meeting with my executive team, and my assistant knocks on the glass door, looking pale. "There's a situation," she says. I step out, and there's Maya. In the lobby. Crying. Causing a scene. Security already has her cornered near the reception desk, but she's screaming about how I led her on, and used her, and ruined her life. Clients are watching. Employees are whispering. My blood runs cold. This wasn't just personal anymore. She was trying to drag my name through the mud. Security asks if I want to press charges for trespassing. I don't even hesitate. Yes. They escort her out. She thrashes and screams like a trapped animal the whole way. The police came later and told me she spent a night in a holding cell. They asked if I wanted a restraining order. I said yes again. But even after that, it wasn't over. One morning, I open my email and there's a message from an anonymous burner account. A video attachment. I hesitate but open it. It's a stitched-together mashup of old photos of us. Old texts. A voiceover by a woman, pretty sure it's Maya, accusing me of being emotionally abusive, manipulative, selfish. None of it was true. But in today's world, truth sometimes doesn't matter as much as who shouts the loudest. And at the end of the video, in big bold letters, "This is the real Nick. Don't trust him." The video had been uploaded to a burner YouTube account. A link ready to be shared with the world. She hadn't sent it to anyone else yet, but the threat was clear. She was trying to blackmail me. My lawyer got involved immediately. Cease and desist letters were sent. Meetings with PR teams scheduled. I couldn't believe it. This woman, who once said she loved me, was trying to destroy me because I wouldn't give her a second chance. I didn't sleep for nights after that. I didn't eat much either. Even with millions in the bank, I felt trapped. Cornered. One wrong move, one leak, and my whole reputation could shatter before my new life even started. And I knew Maya well enough to know she wasn't finished yet. Not by a long shot. I thought the legal warning would scare her off. I thought maybe, finally, she'd realize she lost and move on with her life. But people like Maya, once they start losing, they don't know how to quit. They just find new ways to play dirtier. About a week after the whole fake video mess, I started noticing weird things happening. First, a couple of our newer clients pulled out of their contracts, no explanation. Then, negative reviews started popping up online about QuickDash. All anonymous. All saying the company was shady. That I was untrustworthy. That employees were mistreated. None of it was true. We ran a small, tight team. Most of my employees were friends or people I'd personally hired after years of working together. We had never had a single HR complaint. Still, in business, perception is everything. Especially when you're growing fast. A few bad words in the right places can cause investors to get skittish. I knew it had to be Maya. I couldn't prove it yet, but the timing was too perfect. It was all too personal. My lawyers said we could sue if we found proof, but that would take time, and the damage could spread faster than we could contain it. I stopped sleeping again. I kept thinking, what's next? What's the next move? Then I found out. It happened on a Friday. I had flown to Chicago for a tech conference. I was speaking on a panel about entrepreneurship. It was a big deal, supposed to be my official coming out to the bigger national market. Halfway through my talk, I saw my phone lighting up over and over again on the table next to the stage. Calls from my assistant. Calls from my head of PR. Calls from an unknown number. I knew something bad was happening before I even picked it up. During the break, I listened to the frantic voicemails. Maya had filed a lawsuit. A real one. False allegations. Emotional distress. Claims that I promised her a job and financial support when we were dating, and now that I was rich, I owed her compensation. She had found some cheap lawyer willing to take the case for the publicity. The news hit the local business blogs within hours. Tech founder sued by ex-girlfriend over broken promises. I wanted to vomit. It didn't matter that the claims were garbage. It didn't matter that we had been broken up before the company sold. It didn't matter that she had mocked me for chasing the dream. All people would see was rich guy being sued by woman he once dated. And in today's world, that was enough for some people to decide you were guilty. My PR team scrambled. My lawyers went into overdrive. I spent hours being deposed, recounting every little detail of my relationship with Maya. Every fight. Every text. Every stupid date where she made me feel small. I had to live it all over again in front of strangers. The worst part? The absolute worst part? I found out Maya had been keeping receipts. Screenshots of texts I had sent her years ago when we were still good, where I said things like, "One day when I make it, I'll take care of you." Or, "I promise I'll make all this worth it." Words said in love. In hope. In moments when I thought she was my partner for life. She twisted them. Made them sound like legal promises. Contracts. The case wasn't strong. Any decent judge would see through it. But it didn't matter. She had already won something. My peace. My reputation. My sense of safety. Gone. I started seeing whispers online. Another tech bro getting what's coming to him. Bet he really did promise her something. Rich men think they can use women and walk away. People I didn't even know were forming opinions about me based on lies. Meanwhile, Maya played the victim. Posting sad Instagram stories about betrayal and broken dreams. Liking tweets about men who lie to women to climb the ladder. I stayed quiet because my legal team told me to. Because anything I said could be used against me in court. But inside, I was boiling. I couldn't understand how someone I once loved, someone I once dreamed about marrying, could hate me enough to burn my entire life down just because she wasn't part of it anymore. And still, even through all that, there was another twist coming. Because about a month after the lawsuit went public, my assistant brought me an envelope. Hand-delivered. No return address. Inside was a single Polaroid picture. It was Maya. Sitting at a restaurant. Smiling. Across from her, holding her hand, was one of my biggest competitors, a founder of a logistics startup who had always hated my guts. We had competed for the same contracts, the same investors. I stared at the picture for a long time. And it hit me. Maya wasn't just trying to destroy me out of anger. She was working with him. She was feeding him inside information. She was trying to ruin QuickDash so he could buy us out for pennies. The lawsuit, the fake bad reviews, the drama. It wasn't just a scorned ex lashing out. It was a setup. A strategic, brutal, calculated takedown. I felt my hands shaking, the Polaroid crumpling in my fingers. This wasn't about love. It was never about love. It was about revenge. It was about greed. And I realized, as I sat there staring at the crumpled photo, That if I didn't act fast, if I didn't hit back harder than they expected, I wasn't just going to lose my company. I was going to lose everything I had ever fought for. And Maya would be there, smiling across the table, as she watched it happen. I stared at that Polaroid for a long time, feeling everything inside me twist and turn. Maya and my competitor. Laughing. Holding hands like they hadn't just ripped my life apart. I called my lawyer immediately. Sent him the picture. I wanted to launch a lawsuit of my own. Defamation? Corporate sabotage. Extortion. But legal things take time, and every second we sat quiet, they kept winning. That's when I decided, no more hiding behind lawyers. No more PR statements. No more silence. I was going to end this myself. There was a tech awards gala coming up in downtown Indianapolis, a huge event where most of the industry names would be, including that slime ball competitor, and apparently, Maya. I knew it because I'd seen her tagging herself in posts hyping up the event. I bought a table. Front and center. Under my real name. Let them see me coming. I spent 2 days prepping. Gathering receipts. Emails. Screenshots. Statements. Everything they didn't think I had. When the night came, I wore a sharp navy suit. The ballroom was packed, chandeliers glittering, glasses clinking. Everyone fake smiling and shaking hands. And there they were. Maya and him, sitting at a table near the stage. Acting like royalty. I waited. Halfway through the event I got my chance. The MC announced an open-floor networking hour. People started milling around, chatting, grabbing drinks. The perfect chaos. I walked straight toward them. Maya saw me first. Her face froze mid-laugh. My old competitor turned too, trying to look casual, but his eyes flicked nervously around the room. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't lose control. I pulled out the Polaroid, held it up between 2 fingers like I was showing a playing card. "You two make a great couple," I said. Maya's mouth opened, then closed. He tried to play dumb. "Nick, man, it's not what it looks like, save it," I said, smiling a little too wide. "I'm sure the investors will be thrilled when they find out you're using ex-girlfriends to sabotage competitors." Several people nearby stopped pretending not to listen. A woman at the next table pulled out her phone, pretending to check messages but clearly recording. "Nick, please," Maya said, reaching out like she could calm me down. "It wasn't about that. It wasn't about money, it was always about money," I snapped. "You laughed in my face because you thought I'd never make it. Then you tried to crawl back. And when I said no, you tried to destroy everything I built." Her eyes shone wetly. Fake tears, I thought. "You made me feel like I didn't matter," she whispered. "You made me feel small, like nothing I did was enough for you." That hit harder than I expected. For a second, just a second, I remembered the nights she waited up with me. The nights she brought me coffee and sandwiches. The Maya before all this. But then I remembered the laughter. The way she said, "You'll never be rich." Like it was a curse. "You made yourself small," I said. "When you chose greed over loyalty." More people were watching now. Phones up. Whispers spreading. My competitor stepped forward, trying to take control. "Look, man, this doesn't have to be messy. We can talk privately." I laughed once, sharp and ugly. "It's already messy," I said. "You helped her spread lies. You helped her sabotage contracts. You think I'm just gonna walk away?" Security started approaching, sensing trouble. Maya's face twisted. Anger finally breaking through the mask. "You're not some hero," she hissed. "You're just lucky. You think you're better than everyone because you made some money?" I leaned in close so only she could hear. "No," I said. "I think I'm better than someone who sells their soul for a paycheck." She slapped me. Hard. Right across the face. Gasps filled the ballroom. Flashes from cameras popped. Security grabbed her instantly, pulling her away as she kicked and screamed. "You'll regret this," she shouted. Everyone's gonna see who you really are. I watched her dragged out, her heels scraping the floor, her hair wild, her face twisted in rage. My competitor stood there frozen, not knowing whether to follow her or stay. I turned to him, smiled coldly. You just bet your company on the wrong person, I said. Good luck. He didn't say anything. Just slunk away, disappearing into the crowd. The rest of the night blurred. People came up, offering fake smiles, fake condolences, real gossip behind their eyes. By morning, the videos were all over local news. Business drama at Indie Gala, ex-girlfriend causes scene. Commentators weighed in. Some tried to frame me as a heartless CEO. Others saw through it. My PR team got ahead of the story. My lawyers filed countersuits. By the end of the month, Maya had dropped her case. No money. No apology. Nothing. My competitor's company? Lost 2 major investors after the scandal. By the end of the year, it was bleeding money, desperate for a buyout. He sold it for pennies to a no-name firm out of Kentucky. Maya faded away. Last I heard, she was working at a tiny marketing agency, still in Indianapolis, still spinning stories about the one who got away. As for me? I stayed. I didn't run. I didn't hide. I built a second company. Bigger. Smarter. Faster. And this time, I didn't let love cloud my judgment. Looking back now, I don't even feel anger. I just feel empty. Maya taught me a lesson no business school ever could. Some people love the idea of you. Not the reality of you. Not the struggle. Not the slow, grinding nights when there's no glory yet. They want the finish line, not the race. I don't blame her anymore. She was just playing a different game. But me? I was born for the long game. And next time someone laughs in my face, I'll just smile back. Because I know who wins in the end.